Hello everyone. If you don't know me, which you probably don't because this is a new second channel, then my name is Sarah Danielle. But if you do know me from my first channel, then welcome to no credentials whatsoever. The title is possibly going to change. As of right now, I think it's going to stay the same. But anyway, this is going to be my podcast channel, and I'm not going to do too much of an introduction here just because I am going to make like a little introduction video that's going to play automatically when you go to this channel, which should hopefully be up before this, but if it's not, then pay no mind. But in light of it being summer and being the time of year where people want to go outside and be productive the most, I thought this would be a perfect video. I want to ask you guys a question. I want you to be honest. What is your screen time right now? What is your screen time every single day? Because mine personally, and I'm going to be very vulnerable and very honest right now, my screen time is anywhere from like 6 to 12 hours a day. So when I say 6, that's like me on a really good day. I think my lowest screen time in the past like year has been maybe like 3 or 4 hours. But the fact that 3 or 4 hours is the absolute bare minimum amount of time that I spent on my phone is disgusting. Like, that is way too much time. And I frequently spend 8 to 12 hours. That's like kind of my average, I would say, which is not good. Like, that's really, really bad. And I'm going to guess that a lot of people are kind of in the same boat as me, but are not really honest with other people. Because sometimes when people tell me their screen time, they say, oh, it's around like, 5 hours a day. And then I'm like, oh my God, really? And I check my app and I tell them the honest amount of time that mine is, because I'm not going to lie about that. As embarrassing as it is, I'm not going to lie about it. And then they're like, wait, you might be right. Like, I think mine is more. And then they'll check and there's just like 2 or 3 more hours average than they thought, because they just assume that they're either on their phone less or they lie on purpose because they don't want it to seem like they're on their phone as much. In today's podcast, I really wanted to talk to you guys about things that you can do to stay off your phone and reasons why being on your phone so much is really bad, okay? And if at the end of this video you're like, okay girl, what can I do instead of going on my phone? I just posted a video on my main channel and it's literally 100 things to do this summer instead of going on your phone. Lots of them are alone, lots of them are with people, and lots of them are like optionals and you can do them with other people or alone. So go make sure to watch that video. My other channel will be linked in the description of this video. And if you're wondering why this podcast is only available on YouTube right now, I have no idea how to post on Spotify. So once I get all that type of stuff figured out, I will have all my videos posted on Spotify as well, so you can either listen or watch. But for now, these videos are kind of going to be something that you can either turn off your phone and listen to it if you have YouTube Premium, or just have playing in the background. More information on that will come eventually. Now, honestly, let's just kind of get into it because there's no need to rant, okay? There's no need to do any more explanation. I just want to start talking about this because I'm very, very passionate about this topic. But the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is your phone is made to be addictive, okay? Your phone is literally made for you to be addicted to it. Obviously, people aren't going to make products that they don't want consumers to consume. They want you to be constantly using your phone and constantly on your phone. So yes, your phone is made to be addicted to it. That is why it is okay to admit that you are addicted to it, because so many of us are, especially in this generation. You don't have anything to be embarrassed about. As embarrassed as you may feel automatically based on like having a phone addiction, you don't actually have to be embarrassed about it. Does that make sense? Because most people probably are. Like, most people are addicted to it. Things like bright colors, satisfying sounds when you click buttons, being able to do stuff faster, all of those things contribute to a phone being addictive. It's kind of honestly like a casino. When you walk into a casino, there's a bunch of sounds of winning, and there's a bunch of like buttons you can press and levers you can pull, and there's a little bit of adrenaline, and everything is like very fast paced and everything is very bright and colorful. And that is what like entices you to stay in a casino. They're literally made to be kind of like a time warp. That's why they don't really have any windows, because you can't exactly tell what time of day it is, stuff like that. So your phone is basically a little tiny casino, except instead of gambling money, you're gambling your time. Speaking of time, that brings me to my second point, which is honestly one of the biggest deals, I think, and the biggest effects that phones have on today's society is that they shorten your attention span. This is such an unbelievable problem. And I'm not just going to only blame phones as a whole, okay? They shorten your attention span if you use it in a way that shortens your attention span, okay? So if you're using apps like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, stuff like that, things that are a little bit faster paced. Also, the fact that with a phone, you can text something really, really quickly instead of taking the time to have a phone call conversation. Or you can text a really like thought out text message instead of writing a handwritten note. Everything is just so much quicker on a phone. Doom scrolling also gets you super used to fast-paced media and really quick hits of dopamine, which makes you crave dopamine faster, which makes your attention span shorter. So if you're trying to do something in real life that doesn't involve a phone, chances are you're going to quit if you're not good at it right away, because on your phone you're getting dopamine instantly by scrolling on videos, but in person you're not getting dopamine from an activity that you're failing at, because it doesn't excite you to fail at something. It makes you stressed out. It makes you wish you were good at it, and because you're not instantly good at it, you go onto your phone and get dopamine in a way that can hit you quickly and repeatedly. But you're not going to get dopamine until you're good at something, and to get good at something you have to practice it, and to practice it takes time and energy, which you don't have anymore because you are so hooked on quick paced dopamine. Bad. That is so bad for you. And if you're like, okay, girl, I doom scroll every single day, it's something I can't get away from, I have a question for you. Do you start your day with doom scrolling? Do you instantly reach for your phone the second you wake up and check all of your socials, and then you're like, okay, I'll just watch a few videos while I wake up? And I'm not gonna act innocent, okay? I do this every single morning. And I'm not even kidding when I say every single morning. There was like 3 days in a row where instead of checking my phone first thing, I turned off my alarm and then wrote in my journal. And now that I'm thinking about it, on those days, I was waking up a few minutes before my alarm. And then the days after that, I also woke up a few minutes before my alarm because my brain was active the second I woke up. So it made my brain used to having energy and being active at that time. But when you just reach for your phone, your brain isn't actually doing anything. Like, it's barely having any activity in it. You're barely thinking. You're not really doing anything with intentionality. You're just kind of mindlessly scrolling. So your brain isn't necessarily used to being awake at that time. So the few days after I was journaling first thing in the morning, I was literally waking up by myself at like 7:45 in the morning. But on the days where I'm spending every night and every morning hooked on my phone, it is a chore to get me out of bed. And that specific dot I just connected right now. That like the reason I wake up on time is because my brain activity is more aware and awake when I'm doing something productive in the morning that's off my phone that I actually have to think about doing and do with thoughts and like intentionality. So that's another thing. If you're like, why am I not waking up on time? Why do I have 0% energy in the morning? Whereas some people I know can just hop out of bed and get on with their day. That's probably an answer to your question. But also the original point of going on your phone first thing in the morning that I was going to make is that it gets you used to those quick shots of dopamine. The type of dopamine that you introduce to your system first thing in the morning is the type of dopamine that you crave throughout the day. It's another reason why your breakfast is the most important meal of the day, because if you start off your breakfast like I did today with French toast and like syrup and stuff like that, you're going to be craving sugary sweet things throughout the day. So if you start off your day with maybe cleaning your room, making your bed, writing in your journal, making a smoothie, going on a run, doing something a little bit more productive, or even just reading and just doing something that's slower and not as like quick and intense and like getting new fresh waves of dopamine every 2 seconds in your brain, you will feel so much better throughout the day. And you'll also crave more productive activities because the reward that you get from doing something productive first thing in the morning and feeling that weight lifted off your chest is a good type of dopamine that you will continue to chase if you feel that first thing in the morning. But if you feel, oh no, I'm just going on my phone, this is my quick dopamine that I like, this is the entertainment, it gives me a good laugh, it gives me food for thought for like 2 seconds, you're going to be craving that for the rest of the day. And it's like a completely different type of dopamine that almost doesn't even feel real and dulls your emotion. I will say I have been so phone addicted for like, honestly, since I moved into this apartment. I will say that was kind of like my downfall of my mental health, physical health. I like really was not doing well for a while, and I'm feeling like I'm kind of just starting to grasp at the mental health that I used to have. Anyway, back on track. That's what you're going to be craving for the rest of the day, is those quick little hits of dopamine. Another thing is like, it's the same as if you're an avid caffeine drinker and you need to start your day off with a cup of coffee. You will be craving stuff like coffee and caffeine for the rest of the day if the first thing you drink is coffee. If you have a huge glass of water first thing in the morning, it's so much easier to keep on track with your water intake. But people who just have a huge cup of coffee, and guys, this is me with matcha, okay? I start every single day off with a cup of matcha, but I need to get in the habit of chugging some water first so that I like reset my cycle, if that makes any sense. Okay, moving on. If you are on your phone so frequently and you're thinking to yourself, I hate myself. I don't look like this girl. I don't understand why my like nose isn't shaped like her nose, why my lips aren't as big as hers, why my like cheeks aren't as like narrow and flushed and snatched, why I don't have as much as a jawline, why like my chest isn't as big, why my waist isn't as tiny, like why don't I weigh this much, why is she able to get up at 5 a.m, like why is he able to work out this many times a week, why is he so good at like calisthenics when I'm like still on day 3. There's so many different ways to compare your life to other people's online, and you're like, girl, why can't I stop doing this? Why can I not stop comparing myself? Comparison is the thief of joy, obviously. I feel like we've all kind of known this at this point. I feel like that's kind of like a buzzword quote, but it is so important. Comparison is the thief of joy, and your phone is built for that. Explore pages are built for that. Algorithms are built for that. And it is addicting to compare yourself to people because we always want to improve. So when you're comparing yourself to people, you're thinking that you're doing it and seeing ways that you can improve, but you can't improve in those ways because that's not you. You can only improve in ways that you know you're capable of. For instance, I have a physical goal that I would like to reach, and I am using myself as a comparison for that physical goal because the only person that I can compete with in a fair race is myself. I could try and get a certain body as my friend who has like a super fast metabolism and like a smaller bone structure. That's never gonna happen because that is not a fair competition. A fair competition is with me and myself. If you are comparing yourself to people online, you will never win. But addiction to your phone leads to comparison. We were not made to see this many faces in our lifetime. We were not made to see this many people. Like, you're not made to see photoshopped faces. You're not even made to see a perfect version of your own face. You are not made in a way that is supposed to see yourself clearly and analyze yourself. Our ancestors, they didn't have cameras. Sure, they had reflections in water, but that was distorted. That was never clear. That was never a way where people could overanalyze themselves because you can't see yourself exactly. Nothing is still enough for you to even overanalyze a specific feature because it's ever changing in the waving water. So yeah, you compare yourself because it's unnatural to see this many people. And you could argue and say that as, you know, men, they're like naturally made to want to impress women. And as women, we're naturally made to like want wide hips and like, you know, look a certain way for childbearing. Like, sure, go ahead and say that. But you can't say that we were made to see photoshopped Instagram baddies and we were made to see animated versions of women that are just absolutely unattainable goals. Nobody could say that and have it be true because it's not true. You could be like trying to learn how to ride a skateboard and seeing people do intense skateboarding tricks, but you still have knee pads, elbow pads, a helmet on, trying to figure out how to go 10 feet without falling over and thinking to yourself, I am never going to get there, because you are constantly seeing people who are already there because they started skateboarding since they were 5 years old. So obviously they're going to be better than you, and you'll like never be at that level is what you think. That is not true. Comparison is the thief of joy in every sense of the term, okay? You are going to see people who do better than you. A really big thing for me is that when I see people doing better than me, I don't necessarily feel like they're going to judge me. I feel excited at the fact that they're looking at me and seeing where they once were and that they were always once in my position. Like, no matter who you are, somebody has been there and grown in their skill. So why can't you grow in your skill? Anyway, I'm going to stray away from this because that's kind of like getting a little bit away from phone addiction and stuff. So anyway, we're going to move on and we're going to talk about how phones steal time from you. Think about how much time your phone steals from you. Look at your screen time. If it's 8 hours, how many of those hours can you recall doing something productive on your phone? I can think of 0 productive hours I spent on my phone. Maybe like posting TikToks because that's part of like the career I want. So that is in a way productive for me, which sounds kind of crazy. That's pretty much it. The rest of the productive stuff I can do is on my laptop, such as doing this. I'm like recording the audio on my laptop. I like edit videos on my laptop. So yeah, the laptop screen time is productive for me, but on my phone, I just spend refreshing my analytics, replying to text messages, checking how many likes I have on things, and doom scrolling. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I do. And by the way, you guys, Pinterest does not always count as being productive. We are going to get to that in the next little point, but my God, do I have a lot to say. Another thing to keep in mind with the whole your phone stealing your time, a phrase that really stuck with me, because I'm a big quotes girl, okay? And you know what? That might be like the white mom future in me, but in a way where certain ways that things are phrased literally shifts my perspective. One of my first tattoos I got, actually the first tattoo I got, was sometimes the fear does not subside and you must do it afraid. I heard that and I was like, damn, like you're right. Because I always feel like I need to get over my fears, but sometimes you can't get over your fear. You just have to be afraid of it and then do the action. And I always forget that that's an option, that you can actually do something that you're afraid of while being afraid of what you're doing. And that whole explanation was to just say how you spend your days is how you spend your life was a huge switch flip for me. What you are doing today is a day that's contributing to your life story. Another reason this was a huge click for me is because I spend most of my days on my phone and then I go to the gym for an hour and I maybe hang out with a friend for an hour. A majority of that day was still spent on my phone, and that's how I spent that day. Like truly, that is how I spent that day. And that day adds up, okay? I do that, like 4 days a week? Okay, then 65% of my week has been spent on my phone doing nothing. If you do that every week for your whole life, 65% of your life is dedicated to your phone. Also, I'm not a mathematician. So if you heard that and you're like, girl, what are you talking about? I could not tell you, okay? I do not know where those statistics came from, but you know what I'm trying to say. How you spend each day is how you spend your life. And if you remind yourself every single morning that it does not have to be a filler day, then it won't be a filler day. But if you go through your life and you just let your mind shut off and let yourself doom scroll, that's how you're gonna spend your entire life. You only get one of these. Why would you want to spend it doom scrolling? Why would you want to spend it feeling as little emotion as you can possibly feel when you have the chance to experience everything that humans are capable of experiencing? Like every emotion that we can feel, why would you not want to dive as deep into that as you possibly can? Whether it's anger, whether it's excitement, whether it's happiness, whether it's sadness, why would you not want to experience everything in the full depth that you can experience that? Since being addicted to my phone, I would say I've been addicted for like 2 years. I have experienced, okay, I gotta stop saying that. I'm sounding like that one Kardashians clip. I have felt less emotion than I've ever felt in my life. And it is horrible. I go through most of my days feeling emotions like 5 times and not feeling them to their fullest capacity. I never want to feel like that again. So you know what? Starting now, I'm just gonna make this a very intentional thought. I want to feel as much as I can feel, and I want to feel it fully. I need to start being more in the moment, and my phone takes that away from me, and I am done with that. I am seriously done not being in the moment and not feeling like myself. And if you are not feeling this intense need to go through every emotion you can and to stop feeling numb, that is your sign that you are more numb than you should ever feel in your life. And you need to get off that phone because it is making it so much worse. Parents were right. It really is that damn phone. Anyway, moving on to the next point, which is a very, very untalked about thing. Addiction to inspiration is the death of creativity. Addiction to inspiration is the death of creativity. I paint, I draw, I have been in love with art my whole life. How many hours do you spend scrolling on Pinterest looking for painting style inspiration, looking for reference inspiration, compared to how often you actually spend painting a canvas? Now, I'm not going to say that reference photos are cheating or reference photos are bad. I always use reference photos. I personally prefer that as my type of painting, but I create my own reference photos. A lot of my photos are from pictures that I've taken while camping or self-portraits. I'm a really big self-portrait girl. You need to be comfortable creating your own references. You need to be comfortable creating your own things that you are inspired by. You are not addicted to doing the act that you are trying to find inspiration for. You are addicted to finding the motivation, and you are addicted to feeling the inspiration instead of actually addicted to doing the creative act that you're seeking the inspiration for. So if you're seeking inspiration for painting, you are addicted to finding the inspiration, and you are addicted to seeing other people that inspire you. You are not necessarily addicted to painting. And this isn't for everybody. I'm just saying if you are addicted to inspiration. You can be addicted to watching people play guitar and then never practice guitar yourself. You can be watching people play guitar and like watching people learn how to play guitar and watching guitar prodigies for like 3 hours a day and then spend 40 minutes practicing because you spent all of your creative energy searching for the inspiration and then just feeling the inspiration. You guys, addiction to inspiration is so real, and it is hugely affecting us as a society, and it is also a massive contributor to there being no diversity in media anymore. And I'm not just talking about like representation. I'm talking about everyone wants to be a get ready with me TikToker. Bro, you are just addicted to watching other get ready with me TikTokers, so that is the only thing that you are inspired to make. No wonder all you want to do is post about one specific topic that you're constantly seeing. It's not just because you think that that content is cool. It is because that is the only thing you're consuming. That is the thing you are addicted to feeling inspired by. So you watch 50 Get Ready With Me videos, post one, and it is identical to everybody else's because you refuse to be inspired by your own daily life because it is not exciting enough for you. You are the reason your life is not exciting. And I swear, I am not trying to come off as some like white privileged girl who's like grew up super rich, had like a pool in her backyard, 3-story house. That is not how I grew up. I just want to put that out there. Okay, you guys? But still, if your life is uninteresting, it's because you are not doing anything to make it interesting. If you are just addicted to wanting to do things, you're never actually going to do anything because you also spend all of your creative energy expressing that energy through consuming. I'm going to word that a little differently because I feel like that might not translate. But if you are addicted to inspiration, you say you're motivated to paint. Okay, I'm just going to keep reverting back to painting because that's the easiest comparison I can make. Say you are motivated to paint and you're like, okay, well, I need to find a reference. Or, okay, well, I need to like figure out what style I'm painting in. So you go on Pinterest, you go on TikTok, you go on YouTube. You're constantly looking up things about painting. You're trying to figure out what you want to do. After an hour of doing this, you don't want to paint anymore because all the energy you had that had to do with painting was taken up by seeking out inspiration and motivation for that painting. So like, no, you're not motivated or energized to do it anymore. And even if you are, you used most of your energy doing that. So basically just do the damn thing. Basically, if you're like, okay, I want to paint, but I don't know what to paint, put the phone down and look at a freaking apple. Or put the phone down and look through your own camera roll. Like, you can find inspiration in your day-to-day life that is not on your phone and that will give you actual real life motivation and not fake addictive motivation that's just another form of dopamine hits. Anyway, now that I've psychoanalyzed every area of being addicted to your phone, let's talk about a few tips/habits that you can adopt to remove yourself from your phone addiction. First one is association. Association is a really, really huge thing. It's kind of like habit stacking. So if you don't know what habit stacking is and you haven't read Atomic Habits, which I'm surprised by because I feel like every wellness girl has like read Atomic Habits. It's super like, it's like a buzzword book right now. Like, it's a very popular self-help book. Habit stacking is when, say, every time you brush your teeth, you also brush your hair, okay? And that's your like nightly routine. And you're like, okay, well, I really want to start like, gua shaing. Now, every time you brush your teeth, you gua sha, and then you brush your hair. And you do it in that order. Eventually, when you're done brushing your teeth, you'll just go to gua sha. Like, it's basically just like stacking habits on top of habits that you already have. Association is, in my opinion, similar to that. So every time you go in your bed, if you have the urge to go on your phone, that's because you started going on your phone in your bed. So now when your body hits your bed, your body's like, hey, phone, even if you don't actually have anything to do on your phone. Or if every time you sit down at your desk, you eat. Every time I sit down at my desk, this is kind of like a good thing for me to watch out for because every single time I sit down at my desk, I crave a snack. I crave something to nibble on because I started like eating all my snacks at my desk and not in my bed. So now I get hungry every time I sit at my desk and I'm like, hey, wait, I need a snack, even if I'm not hungry and I don't need a snack. Say I'm watching a specific show. For example, I watched Gravity Falls last year, which underrated. It's actually a really gas show. I watched Gravity Falls last year. And every time I watched Gravity Falls, I played this game called Township. And then every time I played Township, I wanted to watch Gravity Falls. It was bad. And it's the same, actually. I started watching The Rookie. Also underrated, also weirdly good. And then I was like, okay, like, this is kind of a boring episode. I'm gonna play Sudoku on my phone, like, just in the background. Every time I watched The Rookie, I played Sudoku after that because watching The Rookie triggered my brain into thinking it needed to play frickin' Sudoku on my phone. And vice versa. Every time I played Sudoku, I was like, why am I not watching The Rookie right now? It got to the point where one time I was on the bus on my way to work, I was playing Sudoku with The Rookie in a little square on the top right corner because the association is so strong. So a huge tip is to rearrange your room, which I know sounds a little extreme, but rearrange your room. It'll automatically feel new. It'll automatically feel like a fresh slate, and associate specific things with specific things so that your brain has an easier time with healthier habits. So if you say don't want to doom scroll before bed or don't want to doom scroll in the morning, rearrange your room and don't use your phone in your bed no matter how much you want to. If you have to check one text, get out of bed first. Like seriously, because that will make you not crave your phone in the morning or at night anymore because you're in your bed and you're like, okay, well, this is the place I sleep. So why would I want to go on my phone? If every single time you meditate, you want to be sitting on like a certain corner of your room, don't do anything in that corner except for meditate. And you will immediately find it easier to melt into whatever you are trying to do because your brain now associates that place with that activity. Trust me, on my mom. It makes it so much easier. And it's really important to have a new environment or a clean slate when you're doing this, which is why I recommend rearranging your room, because it's really difficult to get into the habit of association when you're in a space where your brain already associates something with a certain thing. Moving on, as we have touched on many, many times, no phone in the morning. Don't go on your phone in the morning. And I know that that's easier said than done, but doing something else first thing is like a huge, huge, huge indicator of how your day is going to go and will change your days drastically. And like I said, how you spend your days is how you spend your life. So it's not even just changing your days drastically, it's changing your life drastically. Another thing you can do is have something you do every time you crave doom scrolling or crave going on your phone. So a lot of people like myself go on their phone to kind of shut their brain down. So have something else that you do instead, like mindlessly draw or have like a set of comic books that's not something that you have to pay too much attention to, that you kind of read and go through, that you can just kind of like shut your brain off while you're doing that. Even take a nap, rest your eyes, go on a walk, listen to music, listen to a podcast. Just don't revert to doom scrolling. Doom scrolling isn't just something that you can do for like a short amount of time and then just choose when you stop, because it is truly an addiction at its core. And an addiction is not something that's easy to get rid of. So say every time you like have the urge to go on your phone, you clean something. Then over time, you won't necessarily have the urge to go on your phone anymore. You'll have the urge to do the thing that you replaced that urge with. Next, and this one is going to be hard for some people, especially to like consciously decide to do this, no more using 2x speed. Your attention span, I know it's destroyed. Don't use 2x speed anymore. That ruins it so much more. I have like made the conscious decision to try and not use 2x speed or to skip to a certain point in the video. It's 2 or 3 minutes of your life. And the more you like force yourself to be patient, it will increase the quality of your life so much. Another thing you can do if you really just want to trick your brain into not enjoying your phone as much and to not being as addicted to your phone is you can turn down the saturation on your phone. So the saturation is basically just like the vibrance of the colors. So if you turn it down, your phone will be a little bit more muted colors, a little bit less intriguing and enticing to look at. It just makes it so much less pleasant to be on your phone and makes you want to be on it so much less. You can also do stuff like turning off the vibration on your phone and like turning off any like sounds that are pleasing to hear on your phone, just like making it a less satisfying thing to do. Another thing you can do if you have an issue with going on your phone first thing in the morning is charging your phone away from your bed. So at like the opposite corner of your room, just so that you don't have the ability to even just reach and grab it in the morning, even if you have to charge it on the floor on the other side of your room, because then you actually have to get up and out of bed to go get your phone, which at that point you're like, okay, well, I'm up, I might as well start my day. And then you end up like tricking yourself into starting your day. And if you're like, well, Sarah, I need an alarm in the morning and I won't wake up to it if it's that far away from me, buy an actual alarm clock. Okay, buy one of those ones that like looks like an old alarm clock with the bell on top, because those are annoying as shit. Use that. Trust me, it works so much better at waking you up, and it makes you not reach for your phone. Another thing you can do, if you don't live at home, I feel like this is easier, like if you live in your own apartment or own house, have a designated phone room or have a designated no phone room. So if you want to stop using your phone in your bedroom, make sure that that is a designated no phone room. No phones ever step through that door frame. Or if you don't want to ever have your phone in the kitchen, if you're trying to like stop doom scrolling while you eat breakfast, make sure that your kitchen is a room where you never, ever, ever step foot with your phone in it. ever. Another thing you can do is develop a consistent routine. Having a consistent morning routine makes it so much easier to stay off your phone because you just go through the motions of your morning routine without even thinking. So it's kind of like a calm way to start your morning, as if you were doom scrolling, except you're actually getting real life things done. So developing an actual routine that is sustainable and consistent every single day is a really very healthy and productive way to stay off your phone. If you have trouble like remembering to stay off your phone, because I know how it feels to set a goal and to not even remember to take the steps to achieve it, you can put sticky notes at areas that you look frequently. So on like mirrors or on like your laptop screen, on your walls, on like your bed frame, stuff like that, that just kind of give you little reminders. You know what I mean? For me personally, like we said earlier, I'm like a quote fiend. So I would put like how you spend your days is how you spend your life, and like little affirmations and stuff like that all around my room so that I just flip that switch in my head and remember what my goals are. And the last little tip I have for today is to consume slower paced media. If you are craving a good doom scroll, watch a movie instead. And I know that that sounds counterintuitive, but intentionally sitting down and paying attention to a movie is so different than mindlessly scrolling. I can remember the plot to every movie I've ever seen, and I can't remember a single TikTok that I watched today. And I've doom scrolled a few times today. So yeah, consuming long form media, much better for you, much better for your patience as well. Bonus points if you're watching like a cinematic movie, like if you're watching Little Women versus Superbad, which those are like two of my favorite movies, but Little Women, I was so much more calm and like slow paced. It's one that makes me feel very attentive. But Superbad, it's like a good laugh, but I still pay attention to it. You know what I mean? And it's still long form media. So switching from consuming short form content to even longer YouTube videos can be better for you and like forces you to develop longer attention span, which is really, really a big thing. Moving on from some tips and tricks, I want to give you guys some affirmations. Affirmations are actually so important, and I feel like a lot of people kind of overlook them, but I'm just going to say affirmations out loud. You guys can repeat them now, or you can like take the time to write them down, but I recommend repeating affirmations out loud, even if you're like embarrassed to. You can just whisper them to yourself, mouth them to yourself. I do that sometimes when I'm like taking a walk. I'll listen to like 10-minute morning affirmations on Spotify, and I will literally mouth it to myself because it kind of just looks like you're singing lyrics to a song and nobody really cares. So I recommend saying these out loud, but I'm gonna give you guys 10 affirmations or 10 things that I basically say to myself to remind myself that I am in control of my own body, which is actually the first one, which is I am in control. I find inspiration in my daily life. My phone does not care about me. I walk through my day with intentionality. I take my time. I am never in a rush. I have the ability to make today a beautiful and fulfilling day. I have control over my life, how I spend my days, and my actions. I take pride in how I spend my time. And the last one is not necessarily an affirmation, but a reminder, but it is literally yelling at yourself to get up. In one of my YouTube videos, like one of my first few vlogs, so way back like 2 or 3 years ago, I basically talk about how I woke up in the morning and I spent 2 hours doom scrolling on my phone, and the only thing that got me up was me putting down my phone and yelling get up at myself over and over and over again. So sometimes you gotta just put down your phone and yell at yourself, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, and you will get up. Saying things out loud to myself gets me, and it makes me actually put in the effort to do what I need to get done. And don't you worry, I'll probably make a video with more precise and a more variety of affirmations one day, but that's all for today for that. Anyway, the last thing I want to talk about is a little bit of a reality check. And this is just, in all seriousness, something that you guys all need to know. I am the first person to admit I have an actual phone addiction, and it is an actual issue that needs solving. Discipline is the one and only way that you will get over your phone addiction. It is literally the only thing, and you have to do it yourself. While phone addiction is different than, say, addiction to alcohol or addiction to drug abuse or addiction to things like that, it is still an addiction, and it is still a like real issue that people don't talk about in as serious of a way as they should. Your discipline is the literal only thing that is going to make you stop having a phone addiction. It is the only way. That is all you can do. And if you're like, okay, girl, I get it, I feel like you don't. Because you can't just develop the habits or the tricks or the tips that I talked about and assume all will be better. You have to make an active, conscious decision every single day of your life that is to not be addicted to your phone that day. You have to try your absolute best to stop doom scrolling, whether that is deleting social media, turning down your saturation, doing all of the above. You can do every single trick I said and still have a phone addiction, because just because you spend your morning off your phone doesn't mean you don't spend your entire day on your phone. You have to practice discipline so much. That is why I put a control affirmation twice. I am in control. I am in control of how I spend my days. You are in control of how you spend your days. I, in my journal, have one page that I wrote the words "I am in control" over and over and over again for the entirety of 2 pages, because I had to get it in my own head that I can control what I do with my body. I can control where my hand is. I can put my hand here. Making the conscious decision, say, okay, where can I put my hand? I'm going to put my hand on my head. That is a simple reminder that you can activate your brain and go throughout your day mindfully and with intention instead of shutting your brain off. Make yourself do something you don't normally do. Take off a necklace you always put on. Drink a drink you don't normally drink. Say a random word out loud. Say like butt crack, okay? And you're like, okay, well, I just had myself say butt crack. It like reactivates your mind and makes you realize, hey, I'm actually in control of what I'm doing right now. It's a very easy switch to flip, but a very difficult switch to want to flip, because you don't want to overcome an addiction, okay? You want to doom scroll. Your body's like, okay, I want to doom scroll. It's annoying, okay? But you have to make the conscious decision to just wake the fuck up and stop going on your phone. That is the literal only way you're going to do it. And that's my little tough love for the day, because unfortunately, that's the only way that your issues are going to be solved. This thing is a tiny little device. Look at it next to me, okay? What do you think has the capacity to feel? What do you think has the capacity to make a beautiful day? What do you think has the capacity to make people smile more, make people laugh more, bring more brightness into people's days? What do you think has the capacity to have fun? Because it isn't this, okay? This has the capacity to let me talk to my friends, has the capacity to let me create things I might not be able to create in my day-to-day life, to listen to music, stuff like that. This doesn't have the capacity to make me feel the emotions that I can feel in my everyday life by interacting with real people that I have around me and that I love and adore. You need to disconnect your phone from the idea of fun. They do not align. They are not the same. You can giggle at a TikTok, but you'll full belly laugh if you actually hang out with your friends and give them the time and attention you give your phone. Anyway, that is all for the phone addiction video, okay? I know I spent a large portion talking about ways that your phone is addictive, but I feel like explaining that can bring a lot of light to a lot of people's situations and make them realize why they might feel the way they feel, why they might have the attachment to their phone that they have, stuff like that. Because understanding why is honestly a really key component in getting rid of your phone addiction and like trying to heal yourself. But I thought this would be a very fitting video for my first podcast episode, because I am very passionate about this and I want my podcast to be like a safe space for people. I want it to be a space where people can escape. And specifically, I want people to be very like on and pay a lot of attention when they're watching my videos, because I feel like I have important things to say. And I will have my other channel linked in the description if you guys want to watch any of my other videos, especially if you're feeling like you want to doom scroll right now. Maybe watch a longer video of mine if you want. I also, like I said, have the 100 things to do instead of going on your phone that I will link in the description as well. If you're not already, make sure you subscribe. I want to start posting on this channel once a week. And if you guys have any topics that you want me to discuss or things you want me to touch on, please feel free to comment that down below. I am going to have a video on relationship advice very, very soon, because I have had a TikTok that went for like a decent amount of viralness for me. And it was about relationship advice, and it was literally just one tip, but I want to make a whole video on that because people have asked me to do that many times. My friends have even suggested I do it because I feel like I have very healthy advice for couples, and I feel like I'm a really good neutral ground. But anyway, I love you all so much. Make sure that you are subscribed, okay? It would be so sick to have 2 monetized YouTube channels. I'm almost at 17,000 on my other channel, and I just hit 16,000, so that's really, really sick. Anyway, I love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope that you learned something and got motivated. Utilize the motivation that this video gave you. Make sure that the activities you do after this YouTube video, if you still have day left and you're not about to go to bed, make sure you use what you learned in this video and don't just mindlessly go about your day after this. Anyway, once again, I love you all so much. Thank you again for watching. Mwah. Bye-bye.